What's going on, YouTube? So Genesis has been on a bit of a refresh rampage recently with a lot of new products, including this prominent GV80.
And they aren't stopping for 2026 because the GV80 sees a host of changes, including new trims, a new third row on most models, as well as other features.
So, is this worth considering over your big German rivals such as the X5 and Mercedes GLE? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Now, like always, let's get started here with a quick spec dump. So under the hood, you've got two different engine options you can choose from. We have the more powerful and more popular option. It's a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 engine, making 375 horsepower. It's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. We have an all-wheel drive model, but rear drive does return for 2026, and the combined fuel economy on this example is 19 mpg.
Now, the base price of the GV80 this year is $57,000, and if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, we're going to be taking it out for a spin to show you that performance. We'll also be getting things like our sound level reading, and at the end discussing resale and reliability.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood. We can get into all the different changes you can expect for the 2026 model year. So starting out up here in the front, let's first talk about some adjustments they made to the trim structure this year. So now we've got a new base model on the low end, and then we also have a new top model. So this new top model is called the Prestige Black, and that does what you might expect. It's going to black out a lot of elements, but it's very comprehensive. So really it goes all around the exterior, including things with their fascia, blacks out the bezels and the headlights, and it's also going to impact the interior as well. So it's a really nice looking vehicle overall. Now, regardless, if you don't want that blacked out model, you've got that signature grille up here in the front, this time finished in that kind of satin chrome finish, and then down here at the bottom you got that same design as before. The signature Genesis headlights carry on for 2026 with the latest version. So you've got all the crystal LEDs running through there, your double daytime running lights, and turn signal indicators as well. And as you walk around to the back, it continues with that elegant design.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as design touches, we have a spoiler up here at the top. We have our wiper right through here. Genesis prominently spelled out across the back. And let's take a look at our taillights and see if all the elements are LED. We have our LED brake light, LED turn signal. I like that the top brake light actually goes all the way across the back. And then as far as your reverse light, that's integrated down here. It's also going to be LED. No exposed exhaust outlets. That was actually eliminated last year. And as far as your tow rating is concerned, that comes in at 6,000 pounds for both engines.
Now moving to the wheels, we have choices between 19 inches and 22-inch alloys. These, of course, are the 22s with a beautiful classic design. That new Prestige Black gets a special wheel as well, and it even has the floating center caps. Now you've got some Genesis brake calipers back there with a little bit of a gray finish. Your two turn signal indicators on the side, and then of course if we come up here to our mirrors, fully loaded on all models. So that even includes power folding and auto dimming on both the driver and passenger side.
Now, as far as vehicle length, this comes in at 194.5 inches. And of course, we have a lot of chrome elements here at the side, including our chrome roof rails. Of course, that would be blacked out for that new Prestige Black. Now, when it comes to your safety systems, I'm happy to tell you get every single one of those as standard equipment. That will even include things like adaptive cruise control with Highway Drive Assist 2.0. But guys, there is a lovely cabin with some more changes for 2026 that we need to discuss. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we have reviewed over 2,000 vehicles at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from humble to high-end, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. Now let's move to the inside. First, we'll take a look at the key fob. We've got that latest Genesis key fob. You have smart entry and remote start, as well as smart park over here on the side. One update for 2026 I want to mention is that there's a latest version of the digital key system, which Genesis says now works for the rear doors as well. Now as we walk up to the vehicle, the mirrors will fold out. Just grab the handle there to unlock the door. And then welcome inside the very luxurious interior. So you've got a lot of different choices when it comes to this model, and we'll start of course by talking about the seats. So just the base model comes with leatherette. Most of the trims come with real leather, or if you go for a top spec like we have today, you get the beautiful Napa leather. So this is the gorgeous quilted design flowing all through here. We've got color contrast, piping. It really feels so soft and supple. And you've got a lot of different choices that you can choose from. All of them are, really kind of attention-grabbing color options, which I think is super cool. I also want to mention that Prestige Black model that has some unique touches, including a exclusive black ash wood trim. Now, as far as the seat adjustments, you can see that we've got 16-way power ability on this model since it's a top spec. We also have massage, which is located right there, and of course memory seats on the door trim. Let's go ahead and climb inside. Now as I close up the door, it does have soft close abilities. And then let's look around at the rest of the cabin materials. Like I said, it is very customizable depending on which interior color you get. Over here on the door trim, though, we're always going to have leather through here, stitched leather, even soft touch plastic on the lower part. More of that through here, and we've got this stone-derived trim that you'll see throughout the interior, including all through this panel. More of the leatherette up here, going through here, and then all down through the center console, you're going to find just really nice materials. This cabin is very well executed. We've been praising it for years, and that continues for 2026. Let's fire it up with the push button start. And let's dive right in with the gauge cluster. Of course, this is part of that beautiful 27-inch display system. It's all one seamless display, and this is reconfigurable with a few different kinds of information, and the resolution is absolutely fantastic as well. Now, as we look above, you'll find the head-up display. That's included on your upper end examples. Also, if you get the advanced version or above, that will give you the blind spot camera system, and then rain sensing wipers, of course. Now, as we pull back to the steering wheel, we've got the latest Genesis design. Of course, when they refreshed this model, they kind of got rid of the controversial steering wheel, went with this just absolutely stunning steering wheel, leather-wrapped airbag cover and everything. We have power tilt and telescoping as well. Turning over here to interior storage, let's take a look inside. Of course, we have donuts inside because at Car Confections, that is our logo. So we like to test out the volume and compare to the competition. Today we have 11 donuts inside. Pretty good for this segment of vehicle. It doesn't quite hit the dozen donuts required to pass the test though. Up in front of that, we've got our 2 cup holders. And then underneath of the trim, we have a wireless phone charging pad on all models. Now, taking a look at the shifter area, we've got a glass shifter. Twist over to D for drive, twist the opposite way for reverse. The advanced trim and above gets this 360-degree camera system. And you can also click that view right there to spin around the vehicle in 3D. Press that P for park. You have a little control knob here, which can be used for your infotainment system if you don't want to get fingerprints on it. Speaking of that, you have a fingerprint reader that works with the digital key system as well. And then over here is our drive mode controller. One new thing I want to mention is this right here. You see it's got a terrain mode. That is a new addition for 2026 that'll just help optimize it if you're taking your GV80 off-road. Now, let's move next to the climate control area. So in this panel, we have 4-zone automatic climate. So all the models that have third rows, which has been expanded in availability, Mason's going to talk about that later on, but that now gets you the 4-zone automatic climate system. As you can see, you can adjust the temperature nice and easily with these physical buttons there, and then the little touch screen here will allow you to adjust the other zones. Heated and ventilated seats are on most models. Those are located right there. Then right above that, you've got a row of audio controls and a physical volume knob. This is the 18 speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system, and let's go ahead and give that a sample. Very nice. So we have lived with this model as well as the GV70 and other Genesis products for many weeks at this point, and one of the things that we consistently enjoy is this Bang & Olufsen sound system. It's very crisp, really fills up the cabin nicely with high quality sound. All right, now moving to the main part of the infotainment system, like I was saying, is part of the same 27-inch screen system. It has wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. That's what I'm in right now, so you can take a quick look at what that looks like. But when I cycle into the main Genesis display, it kind of makes it look more seamless because it will kind of blend it all together there to give you that beautiful look. Of course, it does have built-in navigation as well. And then you've got some different types of settings over here on the side. Up top, auto-dimming mirror. We also have the digital camera rear view mirror system. Suede headliner finished in the same brown as the seats. And then if I press this button, that will slide back the sunshade for the panoramic sunroof. As you can see, it's kind of a dual panel option, and the front panel opens up.
Let's discuss the rear seat area of the GV80, starting here in the second row before we talk about that third row. So as far as legroom figures are concerned, this is a pretty big option for the segment. We're looking at 39 inches of legroom, 38 inches of headroom. That puts it right in between the BMW X5 and Mercedes GLE when it comes to space, and I think you'll be pretty pleasantly surprised. Now, of course, I brought along the official Car Confections ruler. The reason I do that is so I can see how much knee room I have behind Drew's 5'8" driving position. Behind his seating position, I'm 5'9", by the way. We're sitting at 8.5 inches of knee room. That's quite good. Also, my feet can slide up underneath of the seats. These seats themselves are going to be sliding, so they actually slide forward and back a very good distance, and they also recline a very good distance. Now, you may have, for those of you that are familiar with the GV80, remember that we had a fully power second row seat on the Prestige models last year. That's now moved to just the Prestige Black version. So if you have one with the third row, you're not going to have the power folding, second row area. So just keep that in mind. That has been a feature that's updated for the 2026 model year to just be on that new Prestige Black model. Now we have two cup holders here in the center area. We also have this little storage cubby that is nicely felt lined. And as far as other features, we have nice vents right through the center section. We have our own climate controls. Additionally, heated seats are going to be included on the vast majority of GV80s. Ventilation is included on the Prestige models. Down below, 2 USB-C ports, and we even have a household style outlet. If you look over at the door trim, it's going to be very nicely done. So you actually have power rear window sunshades. That's once again going to be included on those Prestige level models. And then we have leather really from top to bottom. It is a beautifully crafted door trim. The only thing I will point out is there's not a ton of bottle storage. So as you can see, I brought just kind of a normal bottle, and that does not fit in the door trim. You will have to use it right here. But one of the biggest changes for 2026 is, of course, the expanded third row availability. If you remember, it was only on one version of the GV80, so almost no one got it previously. And now for 2026, they have updated it to be on every advanced and Prestige trim level. The only thing is that the Prestige Black still does not, so that new model does not have the third row. Now, in order to get back here, it is really quite easy. You just press that button right there. It's going to kind of release the seat and allow you to slide it out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and climb back here into the third row of the GV80. Because it was so limited availability, this is actually the first time that I've ever been in a GV80's third row. And overall, I have a couple first impressions. Now, Genesis says it has 30 inches of legroom, about 34 inches of headroom. So as you can see, I'm 5'9", and my head is definitely hitting the ceiling, so it's certainly not the best third row. However, I will point out I have about an inch. I brought my ruler actually 2 inches of knee room. That's pretty good. And my feet can partially slide up underneath of the seat. Really the thing that I'm noticing the most, though, is the lack of thigh support. There's not a ton of thigh support here in this third row, but the seats are very nice and wide, big wide seat. There's 2 of them back here, so that means the overall seating capacity for this model is 7 passengers. Now, as far as features are concerned, we have a cup holder. We also have this little storage cubby. Actually, there you go. If you press that button, that will open that up. We additionally have our own climate zone, so you can adjust your own temperature as well for the 2 seats back here, and our vents are located right in that area. As far as how this rates on our third row rating scale, this is not a fantastic third row, so I am going to say this is fit just for the in-laws. Walking up to the tailgate, we have a hands-free power one, standard on every GV80, and let's discuss overall cargo capacity. So with that third row up, you are going to have about 11 cubic feet behind that. If we fold it down, 36 cubic feet, and has a maximum around 72 cubic feet for the GV80. That is going to be pretty much on par with most of the rivals like the X5 and GLE. And let's go ahead and talk about how you fold the third row. So thankfully, Genesis has included a power folding third row. So all you have to do is press that button right there. That's going to easily fold the third row down. And as a matter of fact, you also have buttons to electronically fold the second row of seats as well. So as you can see, when those seats do fold down, they are completely flat with the floor, and the second row does fold 40-20-40 split. And now that I've gotten all those seats folded down, let's get our cargo length, width, and height figures. Now, when it comes to overall cargo length, we're looking at 78 inches behind Drew's 5'8" driving position. From behind the second row of seats, we can expect about 43 inches. Behind the third row, 15 inches. Overall opening is 44 inches wide, and then overall cargo height is coming in a little over 29 inches. Let's get our cargo load-in height as well, sitting at 32 inches. Now, if you're curious as to how this compares in all types of categories to its competition, there are a lot of great choices in this segment. We'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. The reason you should do that is because we've looked at all the luxury midsize SUVs, and we've ranked those in those individual categories, things like cargo capacity, interior technology, luxury features, powertrain experience, value. All of that is notated for you, so if you want to make an informed buying decision, we definitely encourage you to check that tool out and utilize it. Now, as far as the finishing touches of this cargo area, I do want to point out any of the models with the third row will not have a spare tire, but if you get a 5-seater version, it will have a spare tire. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2026 Genesis GV80, and this test drive will be discussing quite a lot, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also get our sound level reading, but first we need to start with a hard acceleration.
There we are. Nice little jump off the line there with this GV80. Now, of course, we've got the 3.5 twin-turbo V6, as we mentioned, with the spec dump. That's the upgraded powertrain option. And when you choose that, it's going to bring you up to 375 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque. So those are very competitive figures with, some of the German rivals you could be cross-shopping this with. Also, if you're shopping at the lower price point, you still have the 2.5 turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. That has 300 horsepower, so it's not, an insane difference in terms of power. A lot of the decision has to do with how much refinement you want from your powertrain. This is a very refined engine that sounds nice, and it's very smooth when you accelerate.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing when you're talking about this vehicle segment and, how luxurious this cabin feels. You want to have a luxurious powertrain to go along with it. I think that's where the V6 really comes in handy with this model. But like he said, it is really more than powerful enough in both versions.
As far as the transmission is concerned, we've got an 8-speed automatic transmission. Just like with the engine, very smooth. When you put your foot down, drops gears multiple at a time so that it can get you the power very quickly.
Yeah. Power is routed to the ground via either the rear wheels for just the 2.5 base model or all-wheel drive for all the other versions. But now I need to go ahead and discuss ride quality for the GV80. We have lived with this vehicle several times. One just last year, so about a year ago, we spent an entire week with this refresh model, and I have to say we were very impressed with the overall ride. If you choose a 2.5T Prestige or above, that will give you the adaptive suspension setup, and it does a really great job of, isolating out all but the largest road imperfections. I will say it's not as good as some of the rivals like the BMW X5 and Mercedes GLE when it comes to overall ride quality. Those models are a little bit better, but they do offer a full air suspension, so that's something to keep in mind. But overall, most people will be very satisfied with this ride experience because it is very comfort oriented. Now, we are also on our designated strip of road to get our sound level reading, so let's go ahead and get that going 55 miles per hour. We've made sure all the rear climate is off, as well as the fan speed on 1 up here in the front. .8 decibels is what we have settled in at as our sound level reading in the Genesis GV80. We don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to some of the rivals, though. We can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings. Now, for that sound level reading, that is going to be one of the very quietest that we've ever tested in the luxury midsize two-row segment. As a matter of fact, the one that we had last year got 49.9 decibels. So this is one of the quietest vehicles that money can buy, period. And Genesis did actually further improve that for 2026. I know we didn't quite see that in the sound level reading today, but they have added rear laminated glass for the prestige levels. So that's going to further enhance how isolated you feel in this cabin. It really is library quiet in here. Now that we're sitting in traffic, I want to hit fuel economy. That's, of course, an important element for a vehicle like this. The 2.5 liter all-wheel drive is rated at 21 mpg combined. If you choose the V6 version, that's going to come in at 19 mpg combined. If you do the rear drive version, that's going to be your best fuel economy of the bunch, as you might expect. Now, it is worth noting that is not great fuel economy. That is not going to be as good as the options that you'd find in the BMW X5 or GLE with their inline six-cylinder choices. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that is today's airball. The powertrain experience is really good in this vehicle, but I think if you look at some of the main competition, especially at a very high-priced GV80 like this one, the powertrain in the Germans will be a little bit more refined than what you'd find here.
And for the slam dunk, we're going to say the 2026 changes. We didn't really expect them to do anything to this model, and the fact that they kind of went through and with several different places made some improvements and some upgrades and some changes. Particularly, I think the third row is going to resonate with a lot of people because they can have that really on whatever trim that they want for the most part. So you can get the full luxury and have the third row. I think that's a great addition.
And let's talk pricing for the 26 GV80. Now, prices do rise about $1,000 or a little bit more depending on what trim level you're selecting for the 2026 model year. Like I said, we start at about $57,000. And then, of course, there's a lot of different trim levels. You can see those on the screen right now. We have the 2026 GV80 Prestige all-wheel drive. Our new base price for that one is $82,330. It used to be about $79,000, so that's a pretty big price increase. After a couple accessories, $1,495 destination, we're sitting at $84,635. Do be aware that the Prestige Black would be a little bit more expensive than that as well. As far as where this vehicle is built, if that matters to you, this vehicle is produced and manufactured in Ulsan, Korea. Now, as far as if you're looking to buy one, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that'll connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, as well as things like our monthly payment tool, you can find a link to that in the video description down below, as well as a pinned comment at the top of this video. Buying a vehicle is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's discuss resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, we took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Genesis GV80's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth approximately 42.08% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 12.47% of original MSRP. Now, it's worth noting those are below industry average for all vehicle brands. However, it is slightly above some of the German rivals you may be looking at, such as BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Audi.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies on reliability from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you the most holistic picture. In this regard, Genesis is rated right at the overall industry average for all vehicle brands.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, our reliability data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Now, also important in that decision would be your warranty. You do have the very best luxury warranty out there. It's a 5-year, 60,000-mile basic warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Additionally, Genesis includes 3 years and 36,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. And guys, that wraps up one of the first U.S. reviews of the 2026 Genesis GV80. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions where we detail all of the 2026 changes for this model, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel, and I promise you won't want to miss out. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies. And if you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support.